here we go in another shiur on Purim as we're getting closer to the time, and I have time today to say shiurim, so I'm trying to bundle them up a little bit. Last time we got into this idea, the harag is Mordechai v'lotloso ha'etz, and we talked about the eitz and the concept of the pole representing an extended leg of the concept of the letter Hey, which is really composed of a dalet and a vav. And the vav extends itself down, and it makes itself into a kuf. Kuf is also the word for a monkey. So exactly what and this is really, I guess, is a metaphor, I'm thinking, for the concept of the klipa. Klipa is not really real, but it looks like it. It's not a human, but it is really a monkey, an imitation, or something less than a human. So let's see what he says like this. L'harog as Mordechai v'tlos ha'etz, who zonvo shal nachash. So that's the first idea, is this the tail of the snake. Hemshech regel kuf, which is the extension of the foot of the kuf, which is this part down here. Zecha b'bir inyan hey v'kuf. So let's talk about that, he says. Ayin drush tochom Shabbos. He says this is the Tiv. He has something over there. Shehu so nachash karoch al akeva, which is the secret of the snake wrapped around the person's heel. She'oz vov shebetoch oz hay. So let's look at it again. He says the vov that is inside of the hay. Nimshkoch v'naasas nun. It becomes, instead of a vov, it becomes twice as long, and it becomes the size of a nun. Betoch ha'os k, and that's the nun part. In other words, that's what you see, this long line on the side of the kuf. You read is the makom makale, and it goes all the way out of kedusha into the place where falseness is found. It's wrapped itself around the heels of kedusha. That's right below it, right below kedusha. That's where you find the v'az na'asas kuf, and it becomes this letter kuf. Besod hakali, which is a word for kol, which comes from klipa, or you said in hakali. Hanikra kuf b'pnei adam, b'pnei man. I think it means a monkey with the face of a man. Shebedechila b'choizach b'malchus suras hey, because originally malchus was always in the form of the letter hey. Shehi tov below raw, which is completely good, part of etzilus. V'oz hey hazos a kedusha. Shu konzer is a short letter. Veinu yored lamata kamo ha'oz kuf. V'hu sod ha'iver shal kedusha. This is the gestation of kedusha. Mora ala oz hey shebeshmo shel hevel ben Adam Arishon, which is the hey, which is the first letter of Hevel, the son of Adam Arishon. Interesting. Shagam ku hoya legamre bekedusha, which Hevel at that point was completely and totally in kedusha. But when you make it longer, and you take the vav and you make it longer, and it becomes like a nun, ka'ayin nun peshuta, v'az na'asas kuf, and it becomes this letter kuf. And he's just really explaining it out at this point a little bit better, which he explained some, and explaining it more. So he's an asas kuf mora al kuf shal kayin. This is teaching you about kayin. In other words, taking it from Hevel and making it into the kayin, which is Bein Adam Arishon, who's also the son of the first man. Shehu ma'urav tov v'ra, which is not just tov, but mixture of good and bad. This you understand what Rabbi said. Hasheker ein lo raglayim, that lies have no feet. They can't go anywhere. What does that mean? And even though the klipa has a hold of the two legs and the 2 feet, shehim netzach and hod, let's say the legs and the feet are one is the right side is netzach, left side is hod. The main place that they're holding on to is in the left side, the hod itself. The regel echad v'lo b'shnei raglaim, and then it holds on to one of the legs, but not the other one. So he makes it like a wasted all the day of death. Tamuras hod, which is the opposite. So the word dove, which over here means tumor, death, Tamuris is really the word Hod, if you switch the letters around. Kibiyom Hay, which is the 5th day, the day of Hod, Shuhu Hod, Nechrav Beis HaMikdash. That's when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Be'elav Chachashimishi, in the 5,000th year. So he said, "V'gam zera b'sod v'hodi nehafach olai lamashkis," and the mahod, it turned around to me to be a destruction, a destroyer. But in regards to Netzach, Ne'emer behu v'gam Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, also the Netzach of the Jews will never lie. Gein ha-sheker ne'achaze b'regel nikra Netzach, because on that right leg, sheker cannot get a hold. So he's telling us a chiddush here, that Hod is the place, and which is interesting, that Rebbe Shimon is the Hod Shebahod. This is exactly how this works. So how he overcomes that, he takes that bottom line, which is full of sheker, and he's able to make it into truth. V'lechein oz kuf shel sheker, there's the word sheker, shin kuf resh. Lo nisarek b'menu rak regel small vilvad. So therefore, when you see it, the only part that actually gets extended is that left leg. Shehu Sod HaHod, which is the secret of Hod. V'sham nachash karoch alakeva b'sod ispashos regel lekuf kanayda. So this wrapping, the snake wrapping itself around this ankle, alakevo, b'sod hispashtos regel lekuf kanayda, which is the concept of extending down the leg of the kuf, really the leg of the hay, and it's turning it into a kuf. So how does this work, he says? So originally tzedakah is tzedek and it's bekuf. So let's translate the word and see if I can understand it. So he says again, that's tzedakah is just the word tzedek, just ends with a kuf. But but you have to hold back the keli, and be able to take that shefa that is going into their direction from the extension of the letter of the vav of the letter hey. But talks to the yos hey tzedakah and bring it back so that it should be just a hey, and it becomes tzedakah. So he says like this. He says, excuse me, Shaar Ruach HaKodesh, Yichud Nun Aleph, the 51st Yichud of it, this is what it says. V'od Yizachar B'Kavanas Mitzvah Tzedakah. So you should, besides this, you have to be careful with the Mitzvah Tzedakah. The Matek Dinech HaMalchus HaOmad Ba'ach Zeranpin, to sweeten the dinim of Malchus, which are standing on the backside of Zeranpin. V'ta'ala Regel HaKuf, and what you need to do, and or how you do this. You do this because I guess he means the backside is really the left side. So he says, so how, which is that Hod that he's talking about. V'ta'ala Regel HaKuf Suras Hey Shorish Hevel, and you bring that kuf, that extension that makes the hay into a kuf, and the hay, which becomes the Shorish of Hevel. Umetzedek tehiyah tzedakah. V'yiyah hey chosadim me'irim lahei shezechu tzedek Hashem. Tzedek hey. Ad kan l'shona. Let's just go over the last few words here because it's a little bit. So the word tzedek, which ends in this kuf, tehiyah tzedakah. You add a hey onto the end of it, which means it's going into kedusha. V'yihya hey chosadim, and that hey will represent 5 different chosadim. Me'irim lahei shezechu tzedek Hashem, which shines into the hay, which represents Malchus, and everything ultimately finds its proper direction, I guess, or its outlet. Ad kan l'shona. So he says like this. V'ulai. So maybe he says like this. Yesh machan levoyer. There's a place where we can explain like this. Shikar machshavas Haman v'achshverus chaysa debalta b'nyan beis hamikdash. So this is the main thing that was on their mind. They didn't want the shlita of Hashem in the world. They didn't want the shlita of the Jews in the world. V'lechem ronsa laharog as Mordechai v'litloso la'etz, and hang him on this tree. Who zonvo shal nachash, which once again is the tail of the snake, which is wrapped around the ankle, which is the place where the klipa has a hold on kedusha, hemshek regular kuf, which is represented by the extension of the leg, the left leg of the hay, which was originally made out of a hay and vav, and then the vav becomes much longer and it becomes a kuf. Shehu inyan Churban Beis Hamikdash besod the Sanani Shomei B'Kol HaTzarach Kol HaAra Gedola B'Neis Purim. So let me just go back. I went too fast. Tamuras Hod. So he says, and Nasan Shomei B'Kol HaYom Dove. Dove is a concept of I cause destruction all of that day, the day of destruction. Tamuras. So the word Dove, which is compared to the word hod, because you could switch the lenders around, so now we're talking about that left leg. V'nisbatla atzasam, and nullify the advice of Haman, his wife, and the 365. So he's v'nisbatla atzasam v'choya ha'ara gedola v'neis purim she'inyanu Ba'ak v'Rabbi the Netzach. Now we want to understand this phrase again. Kamavor b'Siddur Rishash v'Doik. You have to see it over there. So last part again. B'Nisbatel L'Tzasam. So by bringing the hay back, removing that leg that is going downwards and combining it with the hay at the end of it, v'Hoya ha'ara gedola v'Neis Purim, and it caused a tremendous amount of light. The miracle of Purim. So what is the inyan of Purim? Where does it go? Netzach is the concept of victory. So he says that etc., etc. And that's going to be the shiur right now. And I have questions about some of that last part, but we understand that what we're dealing with is on the one hand hod, which is the concept of dove, which is the end of the line where death takes place. But at the same time, that this can be brought back and combined with the letter Hey and make it in Tzedakah. This is Baruch. That's a shiur. Tikkun Elevator Kol.